Our next speaker is kind of one of our own here at Midland Power, Larry Beilke. Larry's an energy service advisor here at Midland, and he's recently chaired an EV, electric vehicle task force for Midland Power. We put together a group to kind of fish out all the benefits and some of the hiccups and some of the things that we might be up against as we adapt to EVs. So please join me in welcoming Larry Beilke.
Thanks, Roger. My mic is working there. Okay. Well, thanks for everyone for coming today to our Midland Power's Earth Day event. And like Roger said, I'm Larry Beilke. I work out of our Humboldt office and was chosen to be chairman of our EV task force. Our manager, Bill McKim, asked us to start taking a look at EVs to see how they are going to affect, Midland Power in general. And that's really a lot what I'm going to talk about today is how we're looking at it and what we're doing to become our employees, our board members, educate our board members and our employees on becoming the go-to people that our members can feel comfortable about coming to ask questions about EVs and energy efficiency and stuff with them. So the way we looked at it, and we started looking at this back, I think we developed the committee in April, about a year ago. And after talking about EVs and what they might have an effect on our line, the thing that we kind of wanted to keep an open mind about is like anything, heat pumps, everything, EV can be create an opportunity for us. And with the right approach and understanding of EVs, it can present an opportunity for enhancing our rate stability. So that's what we were after and gaining the knowledge so that we can hopefully answer questions to people when they come to us that they have them. So. And here's a little video that we formed the EV task force to basically to help educate ourselves first on electric vehicles. That way we might be able to help and educate our members more. We're wanting to become the experts that our members can come to and ask us for advice and for knowledge whenever they need to know what this vehicle might do to their electric bill or how they operate and how they can better use it. Our members are going to be talking to all aspects of our employees, not only the customer service people when they call in, but our linemen out on the lines quite often get questions asked to them by our members. We want them to be able to answer those questions as well.
Midland Co-op is, they're forward thinking enough that they know that these EV vehicles are coming. People are intrigued by them, and I think the linemen being here today, looking at it, talking questions, they're the ones that are, getting the lines to these either residential areas or even into a farmstead or whatever. They've got to know what kind of capacity these things take, how many is there out there, how many could be out there, and what's their demand for their substations to handle all this.
Electric vehicles have their place for the people that want to use them, but then you also have our fossil fuels, our ethanol industry, and you're not going to be able to just all of a sudden flip a switch and go from all fuel transportation to all electric transportation. There's going to be that time in there, or it's going to be 25, 75, and so on. As far as transportation future, I believe it'll be in all aspects, whether it be fuel or electric. We support them all. You can't just rely strictly on one source of fuel for our transportation. You're going to have fossil fuels and you're going to have electricity, and it's going to take a mixture of both to make this work for us.
PHEVs.
Oh, PHEVs is, that's plug-in hybrid electric vehicles. So they both have batteries that plug in and charge, as well as a gas engine to them. So currently Iowa has roughly 10,700 either EVs or PHEVs, and that is roughly a 60-40 split. There's about 6,000 full EVs and about 4,000 of the plug-in hybrids. Counties that are served by Midland Power in and around Ames, up to Iowa Falls, the Humboldt-Algona area, we've seen registrations increase by 50% over the last 2 years. Roughly in our service territory, we have just about 700 EVs and PHEVs right of now. Also, studies have shown that through questionnaires and asking consumers what their thoughts are on an EV, 50% of the people that are planning on purchasing a new vehicle are very interested in researching doing some kind of an EV. One thing that goes along with that, and where the power is going to come from, is 80% of the charging that is going to be done for an EV is going to be done at a person's home. So our members will be charging. That energy is going to be coming from Midland Power. So we are hoping to be able to educate people on, proper, if you can charge at times at night and offsetting peak times, that's what's ideal. We also looked at what we might have to do with our infrastructure and adapting to EVs. And we expect to see the highest concentrations of EVs probably around our Ames area, generally because of the concentration of people, the higher population, Boone County, Story County areas. Right now, our substation loads that we've looked at, they're quite adequate yet to handle more consumption coming from EVs, and so the loading that we have on those substations will be able to handle have plenty of capacity for that. Looking forward into our work plans, we are expecting, added load growth by all means, not only just from EVs, but from residential and industrial areas as well. We're going to we use a lot more modern and enhanced equipment in these transformers, like automatic switching for breakers and automatic monitoring of what the load's going on at all times. Through our SCADA system that we have. Software alone, with the metering systems that we have now, we're able to watch a consumer's consumption. We get 15-minute readings, so we're able to tell what kind of loading is going on not only on that particular home, but all the equipment that's involved in it, with all the service lines and the transformers that are being affected by this extra load. So, planning for the EVs. That's one thing that we're going to have to stay up on and stay active in is transformers. They may need to be upgraded in order to handle the additional load that EVs can put on our line. In some cases, you might not just only have to upgrade a transformer, you're going to have to upgrade the service lines that go to it as well. Services in the home may need to be upgraded. If somebody just has a typical 60 or 100 amp service, when you start adding on a level 2 charger, which can use upwards towards 11,000 to 19,000 watts, you may need to have that looked at when you make that purchase of that vehicle. So what people can do that may be having one or thinking about purchasing one is if you do go ahead and purchase one, if you would be willing to register that EV or PHEV with us here at Midland Power. You can go to our website, midlandpower.coop/EV. Another thing too, if possible, our peak times are from 4 in the afternoon till 9 p.m. if you can avoid charging your EV at those times. And also take advantage, we have a level 2 EV charger rebate. Now, a level 1 charger is usually the charger that you get with the vehicle. And that will just plug into a normal 120 volt outlet. It's only going to use roughly 1,800 watts. So that's not a whole lot more than a hair dryer. Hair dryer will use about 1,200 watts. Well, an EV charger, 1,800 watts. So, but when you install a level 2 charger, that consumes, it's a 240 volt charger and consumes a lot more energy, like say up to roughly 19,000 watts at a time. So, and we do have a rebate for that size of charger. It's 50% of the cost of the charger up to $500. So if you were to spend $1,000 on that level 2 charger, you would be available for $500 of that. We're also going to be having more online tools on our website that you can go in and take a look at to see what your costs might be to operate that EV, as well as looking to see where more public charging stations have become available, which is constantly, continually to grow with new chargers being added. And we're going to have hopefully more events kind of like this. So if you keep your eye open on our website and follow our Facebook page, you can learn and be able to participate in more events like today. So, does anybody have any other questions on that? Oh, I turned it off.
So the difference between a level 1 and level 2 is the time it takes to charge. I mean, it's just faster with a level 2, right?
Correct. Your level 1 charger will, if you're going from like 20% battery up to 80%, that still can be from anywhere from 12 to 16 hours to get that charge in, where a level 2 charger should do that in anywhere from 6 to 8 hours. So basically overnight you can go to have a...
So it reduces it by half.
Correct, yes. Mm-hmm.
Your rate structures for different times of the day for charging, do you have that, or how do you handle that?
Currently, right now, we just have what we call a two-tiered charges rate structure for that. It's not based on your time of use at the time when you're actually using your power. But we are looking at all aspects of different rates possibly to follow that could include possibly time of use rates, where the different times of the day would cost different amounts. And also looking at what is called a demand rate. A demand rate is basically based on the total amount of energy you are drawing at one single time. But these are all rates that we are going to be actively doing a cost of service study this summer to be forward looking to see what kind of rate structure we need to develop for EVs. Oh, went over here.
At this time, in all electric homes, there's 2 metering devices on your homes.
Correct.
This for the EV charger, it has to be connected to the one that's the normal rates, not the heating and cooling rate, correct?
Correct, yes. It would be...
The possibility of seeing out this is energy efficiency, being able to put that on that meter or on that service, just for cutting costs and for promoting this type of an application?
Well, I think the heat is a credit that we get from our power supplier. So that's why we need to maintain and be able to see what just that heating appliance is doing. But as far as a vehicle, that would be basically fall in the same categories like your water heater. That still would need to be tied to your main service and your main meter.
So when you talk about the level 1 and level 2 chargers,
Mm-hmm.
and the amper and capacities that are going to be needed for those outlets, when a person's building a home or planning for that, you need to maybe possibly have it in the wiring or in the layout as to being able to capably changing that from 120 to a 240 volt.
That's a very good point. I'm glad you brought that up. Right. If you're doing any kind of remodeling or building a new home, if you are the type of person that thinks, yes, I might want to have an EV or use one, that would be the perfect time to install at least the basic wiring that you would be able to just finally, when you do purchase that EV and get that level 2 charger, that you'd be able to bring it home and just basically plug it in.
Because in the codes now, they require outlets in each bay of a garage. So being able to easily go from a 120 to a 240 volt would be very advantageous.
Right, because you're going to be also installing a lot heavier wire to that particular outlet. So, right, you definitely want to do some planning and get it installed where it's going to be, because a lot of these level 2 chargers, if you want, you can actually get one that's got 2 plugs on it. And you'd want to be able to have that so you have access to both vehicles with it.
So as more people use electric vehicles instead of gas vehicles, what is the government thinking about road use taxes?
Road use taxes.
How are they going to make up for the shortfall?
Right. Okay. So what we've been seeing, and I know what the state of Iowa has been looking at, is you are going to pay your road tax with your registration. Instead of a vehicle, maybe your registration fee for your gas-powered pickup is $200. If you buy an EV, that might be $300 to make up for that gas tax that you will not be paying. So that's how I know state of Iowa is looking at that.
First one, a couple comments. I bought an EV a year ago last February.
Mm-hmm.
So to kind of address yours, I put in a NEMA 614 220 volt outlet in the garage, wired with number 6 wire. So and so I charged that. And so just to kind of track where I was going, it's not an exact track, but I went back 5 years and pulled my rate that I was paying for 5 years and did a 5-year average and then compared the new months. And I'm somewhere between $14 and $20 a month difference in my bill for that. So, and it's to answer part of his question, the license fee went up about $300 a year.
300.
Yeah.
So do you feel you have had good savings? That $12 to $14 a month increase on your electric bill was well worth the amount of gas saved.
Right. It's less than half of what I would pay for gasoline.
Mm-hmm.
I had a Honda Accord before that was getting about hybrid that was getting about 34 miles, so that's what I paid for.
Right.
34 miles.
Oh.
Per gallon for gasoline, and it's still under half of that.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Any other questions?
This might be more for Midland, but being a member, I want it all. So what would be the chances of you folks coming up with a program that would run a separate line from the transformer over to the garage area, charge the reduced rate like you do on the heat, and make sure it's done right. I mean, you can hire somebody. That doesn't mean they know what they're doing. I've experienced a little bit of that with electricians.
Mm-hmm.
Not your group. Yeah. I'm just saying, how do we break into an EV and do it the correct way? Existing home, existing garage, that seems like could be quite a bit.
So you're wondering how it would be most beneficial to have your hookup put in the garage? Is
How Midland
mm-hmm.
would install a class 2, I guess, or level 2 charger from the transformer and be able to get a discounted rate and also have that done correctly.
Well, as far as installing the wiring for a level 2 charger, that basically can be done by any licensed electrician. Okay, so that installation will be done by electrical contractor. The rate that a EV has from Midland will be based upon what we find in our next cost of service study, as far as whether whether they point us towards a reduced rate for them or not. Like I mentioned with electric heat, that is actually that rate that you receive for a reduced rate on your electric heat is a credit that we get back from our G&T, or like from Corn Belt Power or Sipco Power.
And that's why I'm saying
Mm-hmm.
you have a separate line, right? Monitor the lower rate, separate of the heat. It would be a third
Mm-hmm.
monitoring bottleneck, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So there is.
I guess that's something that we'll have to let the numbers tell us what we can do on that.
Yeah.
Opposed to just saying, yeah, we just need to have a lower rate for an EV. Oh, it's all got to be based on what is financially feasible for both Midland Power, Sipco, Corn Belt Power, and our members, of course, as well.
Well, I know from research that the 11.4 cents per kilowatt hour I pay Midland is low nationwide.
Mm-hmm.
It's, California, it's like 65 cents. And in the summer, my heating rate is like 9 point something. And you do a lot more driving in the summer. The savings of what was proposed would not be material, the complexity of having yet another meter
Mm-hmm.
would far outweigh any benefit.
Right. And that is possibly one of the benefits of using a time of use rate is it eliminates having a completely separate meter or a separate device for that EV and encompassing the whole property through that main meter and giving it the proper charges that we should have. So.
Is there some way that there's a level 2 smart charger that would only activate during these non-peak times?
The chargers can be programmed to be very intelligent that way. You can program them to charge those off-peak hours, and in fact, a lot of it actually, that programming comes from the vehicle itself. The vehicle, you program that into the vehicle is telling the charger basically when it needs to come on, when I need power, when I don't need power. So. Any other questions? Yeah.
I don't know if I'm reading his question right, but
Mm-hmm.
part of what I'm thinking he's saying too is Midland take on like a new project
Mm-hmm.
where they help people get that whole thing set up for the EVs. For me, I'm thinking,
right.
I don't know a lot about it yet,
Mm-hmm.
but getting the level 2 charger, getting the electrician in to do the work, maybe I don't know whether Midland could take that on and have designated people
Mm-hmm.
who would come out and do that in your garage, get
Right.
it all set up for you. Yeah.
Right, and that would be very, very beneficial. It'd be clean and easy for people to have that. But also there are very qualified contractors out there that also too do need to be involved, because it is not just Midland Power that they work for. They work for other utilities as well, and they're licensed, went to all the schooling for the wiring, and very capable people are doing that kind of work.
Maybe even recommendations in that website.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe we can do
Sure.
where to get charges for the electricians. I don't know.
Oh, right, yeah. Give some education on who can get you get the equipment installed and stuff for you. Yeah, we can.
Every situation is going to be different. Every homeowner is going to be different.
Oh, yes.
So load calculations and all that would have to be done in order to be able to see if the service is big enough to handle this additional load. That being said, there's demand metering out there already for the HVAC side of things to limit or shut off your air conditioner when peak demands are there. So something like that could be added to these EVs if it isn't already.
Right. I mean, you know, we do load management on water heaters currently, and that same system can be applied to an EV if necessary. And you can do that several ways. You can do that by an individual device, and which actually would control the power flow, or you can do that also again through programming either the vehicle or the charger. So those are all aspects that we will be looking at with our rate study to see if load management is a way to move forward on that. So. All right, sounds good. Just want to thank everyone for coming again today.
Thank you.